Statistics from police watchdog IPID have exposed a shocking reality. IPID has investigated more than 662 cases of crimes against civilians committed by police officers. That's between April 2021 and March 2022. More than a dozen police stations in the Western Cape have been flagged for police misconduct. This includes deaths in police custody, assault and rape by officers. The province's Community Safety MEC is conducting an oversight visit in the Overstrand, where he's been meeting with station commanders at various police stations. My colleague, Monique Mortlock, is tracking that story for us today. She's joining us now live from our studios in Cape Town. Monique, good afternoon. Welcome to Today. Thank you very much for your time. So what this is all about, this visit, how is it going?
Now, the MEC, he's been conducting police station visits since actually stepping into office and since the mandate of his office changed from not only community safety but also police oversight. So these visits to the different police stations across the Western Cape is nothing new. But what he did today is he used the latest IPID financial report, which the national one or the final one is only being released at the end of this month. It's going to be tabled at the end of this month, but the different provinces have been able to get a look or a snapshot of what the IPID report says about each province. And here in the Western Cape, the Community Safety MEC is saying that the statistics that have emerged from this report is quite shocking when we're looking at the province. Just to paint you a bit of a picture, I have the figures in front of me. Those 662 cases that IPID, that was referred to IPID, it's just here in the Western Cape, and those are cases that took place from April 2021 to March 2022. And the Community Safety MEC says that this is an increase from the previous year, from the same period where IPID had 568 cases referred to it. So quite an increase of more than 100 cases. The number of assault cases that IPID investigated, and these are alleged assaults perpetrated by police officers against civilians. These also increased from 64 in the 2020-2021 period to 70 in this period, in this latest financial year. And what the MEC was saying is that these visits that you will now be doing following the release of the report, or at least these provincial figures, he'll now be speaking to station commanders about police morale, officers, the training that officers receives, because this is something that Western Cape government has been hampering on about for the last couple of years, saying that police officers, it seems that a majority of police officers aren't being trained properly, especially when it comes to dealing with public disorder, incidents of protests where we see police often being heavy-handed when it comes to protesters. And these are just some of the things that the MEC is discussing with the station commanders, especially today as he was visiting the Overstrand, because Hermanus police station, it was one of the stations mentioned in this IPID report where a death as a result of police action was investigated, and IPID then recommended to the SAPS that action be taken against this police officer. The other stations also mentioned in that report where there were high numbers of assault cases on Nyanga and Mitchell's Plain. These are two of the stations that have been in the spotlight over the last couple of weeks. You'll remember that last week I visited the Mitchell's Plain area and the Mitchell's Plain police station because there was actually a cleaner that had allegedly raped several women, and he's currently under investigation. An internal investigation is taking place against him, as well as a separate criminal investigation. So these are just some of the things that the MEC was talking about and saying that these figures are simply atrocious. The fact that it has increased because police officers, they are supposed to be there to uphold law and order and to serve the community, and instead some police officers, and he was careful to say there's only some bad apples, are unfortunately contravening the very laws that they are supposed to uphold.
It's one thing to detect these alleged acts of brutality by the police against civilians, and going around with IPID, having the numbers and checking things out and saying, yes, the numbers are terrible. And that is another thing to act against the officers. I mean, do you get a sense that there will be consequence against the officers who are alleged to have committed these crimes?
Now, what IPID does is they make recommendations to the SAPS, and the MEC was saying that the one good thing that came out of this report is that in the majority of cases, IPID found that no action needed to be taken. So it may have been where they found an officer not guilty of whatever contravention they were investigating. But for those cases in which IPID found that SAPS needed to act against the officers, MEC Regan Allen was saying that he was pleased to note that the majority of police stations and management at these stations have actually taken those recommendations seriously and have acted upon it. It will be interesting to note once that full report gets released on the 30th of September, just to hear, because obviously Police Minister Becky Cele will also be around to speak on that report, just to hear exactly how many police stations have not followed the recommendations and also why not. Because one thing we also did was go into the various communities in the Overstrand like Zwelihle, Fisherhaven and Horston, to find out from residents and community leaders exactly, besides those major contraventions like your assaults and deaths, how is the relationship between community members and police officers? Because what we often find is when you have numbers like these being released, when you get stats like these being pushed out into the public arena, that it does take it does knock the trust that residents have in SAPS officers. So I was interested to note what is the current climate. And from some residents in Zwelihle, I heard that the relationship isn't very good. Residents are often frustrated and upset because of the time it takes for police officers to come out when a crime has happened. They say there's not enough police resources, which everyone I spoke to today, from those who had glowing reviews to give about the SAPS in the area, to those who only had negative things to say, everyone agrees under-resourcing is a major problem.
Yeah, we're going to have to wait and see what happens in some of these cases. Thank you very much for your time. Monique Mortlock, our colleague reporter there, live to us from our studios in Cape Town. Now,